Hi folks, I'm Dr. John Raymond Baker. I'm a chiropractic doctor in Longview, Texas. And today is Friday, and it's customary in the past for me to do a video on Friday. Today I might be ranting a little bit, but there's always a purpose for my rants, so please bear with me. And this rant is about getting your medical records. Now, to give you a little bit about my bona fides, my ability to talk on this subject, I've been a doctor in Texas since 1989, and at one point I had the top website as far as people in Texas looking for information on how to get their medical records. In fact, so many people were visiting my website, it was like #1 on Google, that I was regularly running out of my allotted bandwidth for the website I hosted it on, sometimes before the middle of the month. So finally I had to move it to a different server and try to make it less popular, because I literally wasn't able to use it was the whole bandwidth for the whole month. So I wasn't able really to use my site very much because everybody was visiting my medical records website. So I've been a doctor for a while. I've dealt with hospitals, doctors' offices all across the United States, from California to Florida, Alaska to Texas, obviously. And so I know a little about the procedure. I know a little bit about how long it takes. Now, there's a healthcare facility in Tyler that commonly used to be called the Lung Hospital. Now it's called the University of Texas Healthcare Center at Tyler, obviously associated with UT Health Center organization, which is associated with the University of Texas. And I have found in the past that they were very nice as far as the doctors. When you take someone to the ER, the doctors are professional, they're cordial, just you get good treatment. That's been my experience. Others might have different experiences, but that's been my personal experience. Now, recently, a person that, for HIPAA reasons I'm not going to identify, wanted me to get their medical records. I normally take care of evaluating their health records and consulting with them about their health care. So as a matter of practice, I had them sign a document advising that they were cool with releasing those records to me, as well as sending over via fax on the 9th of August a request from my office that these records be provided to us via fax. And expecting, as is the normal practice and procedure of hospitals, to either provide it to me that day or the next day. Normally, you get your records by the second day, even if there are multiple pages. This was not to be. Now, let me tell you, and I think that this beside a rant, this video will have a valid purpose or valuable purpose for you if you're a healthcare customer that wants to get your medical records at some point. In general, the state of Texas says that you must do it in writing, and you have to answer 3 basic questions. What's being requested? Identify what records you're talking about. Where is it going? Who do we send these to? And why do you want them? And if you answer those, I'm sending to Dr. Joe Blow because Dr. Joe Blow is my healthcare provider, or he's the one that explains my records to me, or whatever, and Dr. Joe Blow wants it faxed to him at this number, or Dr. Joe Blow wants you to mail it or hand carry it, whatever. So, they're not onerous as far as the tripod of questions that you must answer. And we did that in writing with the patient signing it, and identified the law in the state of Texas, which happens to be in the Medical Practice Act, that mandates physicians, meaning MDs and DOs, as well as hospitals, adhere to both the timeline, which is 15 business days after they receive the valid request, and that they have to acknowledge that the patient has answered the questions. If you don't answer the questions, you don't do it in writing, they don't have to send you records. Now, they can charge you for your records. However, if another healthcare provider requests them, it is not customary. In fact, in some instances, as far as I believe in chiropractic, you're really forbidden to charge another healthcare provider for a fee for providing the records to them. But certainly it's not customary at all to try to squeeze money out of a fellow healthcare provider for giving them records on a patient of yours. Now, I want to give you the Medical Practice Act section. It's section 5.08 subsection K that allows a patient or someone they designate on their behalf to obtain a copy of their records. And it says, I'm going to read this so I won't get it wrong. The physician shall furnish copies of medical records requested or a summary or narrative of the records unless the physician determines that access to the information will be harmful to the physical, mental, or emotional health of the patient. And the physician may delete confidential information about another person who is not consented to the release. Pardon me. The physician shall furnish, shall in the legalese here means will, mandated, the information within 15 business days after the receipt of the request, and reasonable fees for furnishing the information shall be paid by the patient or someone on their behalf. And again, with that caveat that it's not customary to charge another healthcare provider. Now, what happened with us is on the 9th of August 2013, we faxed the request, both ours and the patient's, to University of Texas Healthcare Center in Tyler, and they got them because we got a confirmation page, and we didn't get the records that day, the next day, in a few days, and we requested them again. In fact, I think we made 3 or 4 written faxed requests, and even had my employee calling the place and verifying that they in fact did receive it. And they did acknowledge they received it and they were going to get right on it, which they didn't do. So I took it on myself to up the ante a little bit, and I emailed both the president, Kirk Calhoun, I believe is his name, MD, of UTHC, and also to the chair of radiology, David Finlay, Finlay, received, and I sent it via Outlook with a return receipt thing, so it pops up, Dr. Baker has asked for you to acknowledge that you've gotten this email, and didn't get any answer nor any return receipt from either Dr. Finlay or Dr. Calhoun, which was somewhat problematic to me because I tend to answer my emails from other doctors. But anyway, this rocked along. I had to spend time of time that my employee could be better served on other projects to keep her on top of getting this one patient's medical records. Well, eventually, I have an excellent employee. She called and they started asking her questions like, why do you want it? Who's Dr. Baker? Is he going to treat her in the next 2 days? Which is another damn business. As long as you answer those questions mandated under the Texas Medical Practice Act, you don't have to tell them who you are, what you eat for breakfast, do you play tiddlywinks, whatever. And they were inappropriate questions. And eventually my employee contacted the supervisor of medical records. Her name is Christy Atwood. And I have her email address in case you ever have to contact her. It's Christy, Kristie, kind of like Krispy Kremes, but a T instead of a P. Atwood, A-T, Wood, at UTHCT, University of Texas Healthcare, Tyler, .edu, because University of Texas is a university and they have that edu for educational institution. So it's Christy Atwood at uthct.edu. And I want to say that it's becoming widespread nowadays for email addresses to be first name dot last name at whatever the mail server is for that company. So they're conforming to what's becoming the standard protocol for email naming. So she advised that she was going to take the matter in her own hands, and props to Ms. Atwood. She actually did that and faxed it to us the same day that she received the voicemail. Now, I wrote her an email, and I had concerns about the person that I thought was named Jackie because I talked to my employee, but their actual name is Frankie, Frankie, much like the song Frankie and Johnny. If you're old enough like I am, you might remember that song, which was a popular song in a while. Anyway, her name was Frankie, and I expressed to Miss Christy Atwood that I felt it was inappropriate and Miss Frankie needed more training, both in terms of the laws of the state of Texas and in professionalism. She, in an email to me, and I don't feel like it was something that's that personal because it was a business matter, said that Frankie was trying to determine that expediting it was appropriate, and that's why she asked the questions and said that she didn't feel like Frankie was being nosy, and she put nosy in quotes. And I responded that I don't think it was expediting it because the day that we were corresponding in email, in fact the day that we received the records via fax, was the 12th day after we initially recorded it. And in 24 years since I've been a doctor in 1989, hospitals normally give you the requested data, the requested medical records in 24 hours. Certainly within 48 hours, even if it's like many pages. So my concern to her, and one that I'm also voicing it because I told her I was going to do a video, and I do what I say I'm going to do, is why is the University of Texas Healthcare Center at Tyler struggling to do the same thing that other hospitals do with ease? Because it seems that the weak link, the rate limiting factor in all this, is not the doctors in the ER doing their part, filling out the paperwork, but it seems to be the Medical Records Department of the University of Texas Healthcare Center. Now, it's been my understanding that since I pointed out to her that Dr. Finlay nor Dr. Calhoun had responded to my letters, and I felt that was unprofessional, they've called and designated someone and left their personal cell phone. You know, you don't clean up after the mess. You keep the mess from happening by being professional to begin with. But that said, I don't want this to be a complete slam on the University of Texas Healthcare Center because I think they do a great job. And if I had the names of every doctor that I've dealt with at the ER department there, I would list them and I would say thank you because I have the highest marks both for their professionalism, for their friendliness, their patient care, their bedside manner is great. And I would not hesitate now nor in the future to take my mom or anybody to their ER. I was very impressed with their means and their protocol for taking care of patients. So I don't want to slam UTHCT whatever entirely because I have the highest marks for their ER department. So props to you guys, the people that are working radiology there, the people that are the ER docs, the nurses, doing a great job. So, you know, great work, guys and gals. But for the medical records department, the people that are working under and at the direction of Christy Atwood, I would say y'all aren't doing such a great job. You know, when you take when you have a request from August the 9th and you still haven't fulfilled it by August the 11th and there's only 16 pages, you know, you don't have to be able to lay an egg to know when one's rotten. You don't have to be able to create a fish to know when one of those is rotten, and I don't have to be running their medical records department to know when there's a problem. So I wanted to address that, give you the proper way of requesting your medical records, because it's pretty much the same for chiropractic doctors as it is for medical doctors and for hospitals. We all kind of work on the same time frame, 15 business days, which omits the Saturday, Sunday, and I think Christmas and holidays. And I think we have the same, pretty much the same cost that we can charge patients. But I wanted to give you a heads up on how to properly do it. It must be in writing. You just can't call them up and say, send me my stuff. You have to answer those 3 questions. But also it's a It's a larger question, and that is, how should you be treated? Not how should Barack Obama be treated, not how should Joe Biden be treated, not how should Rick Perry be treated, not how should doctors be treated, how should patients be treated? Not just by doctors, not just by nurses, but by everyone associated with a hospital. And while we're on that slippery slope, how should your average citizen of Texas be treated when they get on the highway and are pulled over by highway patrol? You know, unfortunately, we've seen a couple of instances, at least two, perhaps more, in which highway patrol undertook to do cavity searches on the side of the road. In one case, I know they fired the male DPS officer, and they kind of laid off or put on hold, suspended the female. And when she wasn't indicted by a grand jury, they gleefully took her back after her basically using the same glove to do cavity searches on two different women. Now, that says something to me about how they view the public, how they view citizens, how they view you, because they can force you to open your mouth, and they can force you to allow them to take a swab and get your DNA. And that's from our wonderful Supreme Court saying it's fine for them to forcibly take DNA samples from you. And I just think it opens up a broader question about how poor Joe Blow in this country, and especially in the state of Texas, is treated by institutions, whether they be hospitals, whether they be law enforcement, whether they be local government, city, state, etc. What's happening with our rights? You have a Fourth Amendment right not to unreasonable search or seizure. You have a Fourth Amendment right not to have a warrantless search imposed on you. Not for a cop to barge into your house unannounced and say, I'm searching it. These were rights that were important to the founders because they saw how the British soldiers did. In fact, the way the English law system was, you could have double jeopardy, so they ensured that double jeopardy was not something that they were going to tolerate. You have a right not to speak. If a policeman asks you where you're going, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not giving you legal advice, but the Fifth Amendment says that you can say that you're not going to speak pursuant to your Fifth Amendment protections. You have a right to say within limits. You can't, that goes back to the fire in the crowded theater. But if I'm in a crowded theater and there is a fire, I hope you let me know about it. I hope you don't go, I can't tell anybody because there's a First Amendment ban on fire in a crowded theater. And you can't libel. You can, but it'll be something you'll probably end up in court about. Libel or slander folks. And none of this is medical advice to you, and none of this is legal advice to you, because I'm not your doctor and I'm not your lawyer. But it's one citizen talking through the wonder of video to other citizens about what's happening to our rights. Why are we when we're the one paying the bill to hospitals, or our insurance is, or whatever, or we're paying the DPS salaries, why are we treated like we're the people that are outlaws? We're the employers, for goodness sake. If I had an employee that treated me the way people are treated on the highway or by city governments or whatever, I'd fire them. So part of the problem is that we need to fire some of the people that are making decisions to treat us badly. And certainly, if we can't fire them, not to patronize them. So keep that in the back of your mind. If you're not treated with respect, then perhaps you need to address that issue and not patronize the business, or even maybe not vote the people in that are treating you badly or allowing you to be treated badly. So my rant about medical records turned into a general question about why don't we demand better treatment from organizations? We're not nobodies. We pay the bills. for government, for hospitals, for pharmaceutical companies, for doctors, for lawyers. We pay the bills. So through taxes, through fees, through all kinds of stuff. So think about that. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you have a great weekend if you're seeing this on Friday and or Saturday or Sunday. And I appreciate you if you subscribe to my channel. I hope I give you some valuable information, or at least I make you think or make you laugh, if nothing else. Have a great day. Bye.